All right, welcome back to the channel. So it looks like Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford both responded to Kieth Thurman performance last night against Mario Barrios. And Errol Spence says that he's tailor-made, that Kieth Thurman is tailor-made for him. And Terence Crawford said, I'm going to stop Kieth Thurman. I'm going to break it down for y'all. Let's talk about it in this video. King Jr. got another video for y'all. So we have some interesting and more exciting news when it comes to the sport of boxing. As we seen the performance last night of Kieth one-time Thurman. I actually watched the fight. I think I stayed up to like 11 o'clock till this fight went off. And it's just Kieth Thurman, he didn't look good to me. I will tell you this, he was landing more effective shots. I feel like Kieth Thurman wasn't accurate enough on his shots. He was landing big looping shots on Mario Barrios. There was one shot that Kieth Thurman landed the big left hook, and he clapped Mario Barrios. And the power of Kieth Thurman isn't there anymore. I figured that if Kieth Thurman landed that same punch twice, he was going to either get him out of there or he stumbled or stop him. Well, Mario Barrios showed that he had a chin tonight when it came to Kieth Thurman, and Mario Barrios was eating the punches as well. And what really stuck me out in this fight was when Mario Barrios started going to the body, landing the same left hook to the body twice. And Kieth Thurman, he started acting funny. He started moving around the ring. And it's not going to be the case between Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford if they fight Kieth Thurman, because both of these guys can land one shot, and Kieth Thurman could be out of there. And it's ridiculous how Kieth Thurman can't take it to the body. And he won by unanimous decision and stuff like that. But a lot of people was criticizing Kieth Thurman's performance. Well, I'm not going to criticize him too much. He damn near almost had a 2 to 3 year layoff. And he beat Mario Barrios. But a lot of people wanted Kieth Thurman to knock out Mario Barrios, just like Tank Davis did. And you got a guy within Tank Davis that knocked out Mario Barrios, and then you beat Mario Barrios by decision. That shows the difference of power between Kieth Thurman and Gervonta Tank Davis. And it's for Kieth Thurman, it's not looking good for him. But Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. both saw the performances of Kieth Thurman last night. And Errol Spence Jr. says on his Twitter, the little thing says Taylor. So Errol Spence Jr. says that Kieth Thurman is tailor-made for him. So Errol Spence Jr. is a gruesome body puncher. He punches very well in the body. Kieth Thurman, I just don't think he should fight Errol Spence Jr. I think Errol Spence Jr. would get him out within 6 to 7 rounds. It's just that style that Kieth Thurman has showed us now is definitely tailor-made for Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr., even though Errol Spence Jr. been out the ring for 2 years, Errol Spence Jr. still trains hard in the gym. He doesn't quit doing workouts just like Kieth Thurman. A lot of people a long time ago, they say that Kieth Thurman never finished the whole workout. So Errol Spence Jr., I feel like that he's going to dominate Kieth Thurman. I feel like that he's going to dominate Kieth Thurman if they fight. I just think that at this point, Kieth Thurman needs another tune-up fight before you're even talking about fighting Terence Crawford or Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr., high ring IQ, great lateral movement. He will stand in the phone booth if you have to. Gruesome body puncher. Errol Spence Jr. will break you down from the body first before he goes up top. And I think that's a very bad matchup for Kieth Thurman. Now, let's get into the Terence Crawford situation. Terence Crawford stated that he was going to stop Kieth Thurman. And I believe it. I believe Terence Crawford stops Kieth Thurman all the way. Kieth Thurman is too slow. I'm gonna say the same thing for Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. Kieth Thurman is not going to be able to catch these guys. I don't think his lateral movement has improved since the layoff. I try not to discredit him, but I have to. Kieth Thurman looks slower. He looks sluggish. His ring IQ has dropped a few few nanoseconds, whatever you want to call it. I just don't think that he's going to be able to keep up with a caliber fighter like Terence Crawford that switches from orthodox to southpaw. And this is very bad stylistically matchup for Kieth Thurman. I even have Terence Crawford knocking Kieth Thurman out because Kieth Thurman, even though he has never been knocked out, Terence Crawford has more devastating power than Kieth Thurman. And I feel like that Terence Crawford or Errol Spence should even fight Kieth Thurman. Now, I wouldn't mind if Terence Crawford fight Kieth Thurman just to put this guy out of his misery and retire him. But Terence Crawford doesn't need to be waiting for Kieth Thurman because Errol Spence is going to do what he's going to do. He's going to be Daniel Ugas. He's going to call you out for an undisputed showdown. Unless Terence Crawford wants to stay busy fight before that time frame, which pushes the fight back even further because we got to wait for Terence Crawford to rest up for the fight and then have a training camp. I wouldn't mind seeing him doing that. But both of these guys shouldn't fight Kieth Thurman. They both know they could beat Kieth Thurman. Kieth Thurman is not that same guy. He's not hungry. Kieth Thurman was very muscular in this fight. Maybe he put on a little bit too much muscle than he usually does. But I just think that both of these guys, Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford, stops Kieth Thurman. Kieth Thurman looks not like discipline in the sport of boxing anymore. At the end of the day, I just think he wants the bag, and I just think he's ready to get out of the sport. He needs to get out of the sport, or if he's serious about coming back, he says he's never going to take another loss again. He needs another 2-0 fight. Don't throw Kieth Thurman in there with Errol Spence or Terence Crawford because he's either going to get stopped from the body by Errol Spence or he's going to get brutally knocked out by Terence Crawford or stopped by Terence Crawford. The team's going to throw in the towel because Terence Crawford is relentless. Errol Spence Jr. is relentless. And Kieth Thurman, all I can say is good luck. Make as much money as you can, but don't be trying to call these guys out because they are going to look to take your head off. And I just think Kieth Thurman is a discipline to the sport of boxing anymore. But with that being said, Errol Spence Jr. says that Kieth Thurman is tailor-made for him. And Terence Crawford says he's going to stop Kieth Thurman. Now, I will break one more thing down. We've seen Kieth Thurman have these years of layoffs and stuff like that. Kieth Thurman was one time back the unified champion at 147 WBC and WBA, and he beat Danny Garcia to get that title, and he also had the WBA as well, and he lost that title because he never defended. So I don't know what was the reason he didn't want to defend it, but he had to defend the WBA against Manny Pacquiao, and then he lost to Manny Pacquiao and stuff like that. Kieth Thurman has fought 4 times out of 5 years. Kieth Thurman was a once-a-year fighter. I don't understand why guys wants to fight once a year. It makes absolutely no sense to do that, especially if you're a boxer. A lot of guys feel like a lot of guys lost the mentality, like Marvin Hagler, besides in Canelo Alvarez. But Marvin Hagler, it didn't matter who he fight. He was looking to fight the best, and he always stayed trained and always stayed ready before a fight because you never know as a boxer. You get a 2 to 3 week notice, and you don't know how to study the opponent, and you got to do this training real fast, cut the weight and all this other stuff. As a fighter, you always got to maintain yourself. You always got to stay agile, stay focused, stay trained in order to continue to be at the top level of your game. That ain't the case with Kieth Thurman. I think Kieth Thurman may have 2 more fights in him left. I don't think he should jump to Terence Crawford or Errol Spence Jr. because Errol Spence is going to either knock him out the body or Terence Crawford is going to need to stop him in the orthodox stance or switch to southpaw, knock him out. Either way it goes, Kieth Thurman, in my opinion, is not beating Terence Crawford or Errol Spence Jr. But with that being said, guys, it is what it is. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. This is your boy King Jr. I'm out of here. Peace.